Welcome to The Brain Factor, hosted by myself, Joy Riddle, and Laura Hawley. We're a part of Meridian Behavioral Healthcare, where we believe that wellness is within everyone's reach. This podcast is a conversation about what research-based protective factors look like in real life. Our hope is that you'll walk away with something that you can use in your own life and have had some fun with us along the way. So let's get started. Hi, thank you for joining us today on The Brain Factor. Laura and I are here with a special edition for you today, or a special episode, since the holidays are coming. We know there are so many things that can be challenging for us during that time related to stress and everything else that happens. So we wanted to get with you today and kind of talk about that a little bit, some of the things that can happen.
Sure. I mean, it's the most wonderful time of the year, right?
It
Except
certainly
when it's not.
is, yes.
So, and it is. I mean, it's a really festive time. It's a time that is joyous for a lot of people, but it also comes with a layer that I think we don't talk about enough, or we don't acknowledge enough, right? So we joke like, oh, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but that's the pressure that's put out there, right?
It is.
So, and that pressure comes in a lot of different forms.
Yes, it certainly does. It comes from everywhere, and I blame Macy's. And the starting with the parade,
right?
Everything. It's just so big and amazing, and a lot of us feel like our holidays need to be big and amazing. If I had to raise my hand, I know some of you are listening and not watching, but I'm raising my hand because I put incredible stress on myself. Sure. In a lot of different ways, just the way I want everything to be and how it has to happen, and what foods there need to be. I
think there's a lot of pressure to be happy around the holidays, and we've previously talked about toxic positivity and that whole kind of stuff. And I think we see a lot of that at the holidays, where you're just kind of supposed to feel a certain way. Yeah. And it's and one of the things we hear over and over again, which is not a bad thing, it's nice, right? It's about family and it's about being together. Well, not everybody's family is functioning properly right now, or not everybody's family can be together. Yeah. And some of that could be because of factors like the pandemic, or it could be because of finances.
Or someone could just be sick. Maybe someone has, some cancer or something, and they're on chemo, or
maybe somebody has died this year, right? Yeah. And so the holidays are a little tough for you. They're a little harder. What does it look like without that person? Maybe it's the anniversary of something. Like, all of the normal stuff in life still happens around the holidays. And yet there's this sort of added layer pressure for us to be happy and for things to be really functional. And they so often aren't. I mean, the Griswold's Christmas is a smash hit for a reason, right? Because things don't go the way they're supposed to at the holidays, but yet we still sort of have this Hallmark version of what we think it should look like. And if it doesn't look like that, we're failing, right? Yeah. And so much of that is tied, I think, where I feel pressure is financially. Yeah. And it's not just providing what's under the tree, but those holiday meals can get expensive, and the decorations and the trips to here and the visits to that. And, so I think that stuff you feel inadequate when you can't provide all of that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it feels sometimes like a second job as well. You already had a very, very full life before the holidays came about, whether that's Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or Diwali or whatever it is. And then you've got this whole other layer, this whole other 10 events you need to plan in 30 days.
Sure. And then there's we know the prevalence of mental health struggles, right? Yeah. And so, there's it's like 18.5% of the population is struggling right now, right? And so you're struggling with depression or anxiety or something else. And now what you're just supposed to kind of go like, oh, let me put a pin in that.
Now I'm happy.
While I figure out how to be happy for, 25 days, 30 days, whatever it is. And and I think that's unrealistic. So it can be a very difficult time for a lot of people.
So what can we do to help, with that? How do we combat those financial pressures and those party pressures. And I don't know about you, and I don't know what it'll be like again this year because of the pandemic, but pre-pandemic, I was Christmas party, Christmas party, Christmas party,
Sure.
Christmas party,
Mm-hmm.
Christmas party. Oh, there's 3 on Saturday,
Right,
from
right,
one to the
right.
next, and you have to at least make it an appearance.
Sure. And I think you have that, which is such a real intense pressure. But I think you also have people who are sitting in their living room and they're not getting invitations to
Yeah.
Christmas parties, and they don't
That's
have
true.
somewhere to go and people to be with. And they're
Yeah.
going, the perception there is, I'm supposed to be juggling Christmas parties and everyone's going and I'm not.
So what's wrong with me?
Right. I'm not, and this, and then therefore my holidays aren't good. Therefore I don't have a reason to be happy. Right. And so I think that a lot of things contribute to that.
Yeah.
And I do think the over commercialization of the holiday
Yeah.
can really contribute to that, because it's supposed to look a certain way too. And I think finding a way to infuse some realism
Yeah.
into your situation can really help you find the joy in the holidays for whatever that means for you, right?
Yeah.
So I know people who, maybe they don't have the best relationship with their family. Maybe there's some toxicity there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's been some trauma. And it's not really a good situation for you to suddenly spend a whole bunch of time with your family. But maybe there are really good friends who are like family for you, who fill you up and make your heart happy, right? Or maybe it's just, your little inner circle of your immediate family, and how can we enhance the time that we are spending with those people who do make our heart feel the joy that we want to feel on the holidays, right? It doesn't always have to be traditionally what it might look like for everyone else.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really great point. And I kid when I say I blame Macy's, because I totally don't. It's my favorite place, the one on Herald Square in Manhattan, who does the parade. So it is
So
my
beautiful.
favorite. So I really don't blame Macy's. But what else can we do?
I think having a financial plan can be really
Yeah.
helpful. And that's scary. Like if you're struggling financially and then someone starts to talk to you about making a budget, that's really difficult, because you go, well, the budget's easy. It's 0, right? And, and you kind of
So
don't
then
want
what
to
do you
sit
do?
down and look at the hard work, right? But having some sort of a plan, like realistically, no, I can't deliver the moon and the stars under the Christmas tree this year. And no, I can't buy for every second and third cousin twice removed that I have, right? So let me put some realistic parameters in place about what the gift giving looks like,
Right.
what those budgets are.
Maybe the meals too.
Right, and maybe the meals too. Like, you don't have to have the turkey, the ham, and the lasagna, right?
What?
I know that's going to be hard for you to wrap your head around, Joy, but if that's not where you are and that's going to hurt your family, maybe we pare that down a little bit, and we look at realistically what we can afford, or we say, hey, I can do the turkey. What are you going to bring? And we can share those responsibilities and still have that beautiful holiday family meal that we're looking for. Or what, Chinese food places are open. That's okay too. If you're going to sit around a table with your family and that's where you are, make it be about what it needs to be for you and what's not going to hurt you come January, come February, and I think that's, from a financial standpoint, that's an important thing to remember.
Yeah, I was thinking too a little bit earlier about where we are in this extended pandemic now that just seems to be persisting, because prior we know that rates of mental health issues will increase around
Absolutely.
the holiday season. So you'll see more depression, anxiety, different things like that, based on some of the things we've already mentioned.
Absolutely,
You can't
yeah.
be with your family, financial, all of that. But now there's this whole new layer because people are in different places.
Yes.
And what they feel about is okay now. Can we gather? Can we not gather? What size of a gathering is okay? What one isn't? And you can be in one household and your significant other has a different opinion than you do.
So how do you plan the
How do
holiday
you do
that
this?
looks like the holiday that you want to see, right?
Yeah.
And that's difficult. That's a lot of communication. That's a lot of give and take, a lot of compromise, a lot of adjusting our expectations and trying to find those core things that are those top, 2 or 3 things of like, what does the holiday mean to me and what does it have to look like? And then and then really focusing on things that just support those things. And then everything else is kind of the icing, you know? And I think that's hard. That's a really difficult thing. And you're going to have, you know, there's going to be give and take. There's going to be somebody who it doesn't look exactly like they wanted it to look. And hopefully there's, you know, her way, his way, and then the third way, you know, that kind of works for everybody, which is easier than it sounds.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier than it sounds.
It can be very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in this place myself with, you know, between my husband and I and what the holidays should look like.
Well, your family's traditionally had all those really big gatherings and everybody at the table. And so like naturally you have a group that size. There's going to be people in that group that are going to
so you say, well, it's just immediate family, but that's 30 people.
Right.
So.
Right. And then it's tough too, because I think of the opposite, and I think of the folks who they don't have large families, so they've always gathered with friends, and maybe friends aren't gathering the way that they did before, and they are just keeping it to immediate family, right? And so, you know, what does the holiday look like for the person who doesn't have the invitation this year?
Well, what about, too, just, I know we're talking about budgets and managing things, but I'm thinking about, too, when you're dealing with the stress, some of those techniques that we've talked about in the past that can help you lower that anxiety or deal with that stress by focusing on mindfulness.
Absolutely. And I think, too, recognizing when you're just sort of the hamster on the wheel in a holiday mode and it's not fun, right? That should be a red flag where we stop and we go, okay, what's going on with me right now? Let me take an internal inventory. Where's the anxiety? What is it attached to? Where's the feelings of depression? What is that attached to? And then start to address those areas with some of the tools that we've talked about already. You know, whether it's an in the moment tool where we're just going to do some deep breathing and some self-talk that reminds us about what's important, or whether it's going to be, you know, something more like, you know, listing out the stressors and attacking it in a more strategic way, right? If it's the overwhelm. But I do think some of those tools, if we look at them through the holiday lens, can be very helpful.
Yeah. I know they help me in normal times, so I'm going to try to apply some of those strategies this year.
I think, too, there's still this sort of like I don't know, like filter on the holidays where this doesn't happen when it's the holidays, right?
Right.
It's just not as acceptable, like because you're supposed to be happy. And the other thing I do want to talk about, and you know, we're sitting here in Florida, and so we don't see as much of this, but we've got viewers and listeners from all over, that the holidays are also, they occur in winter, right? And starting in late fall, and so, you know, seasonal affective disorder is something that we see where we see increased rates of depression in winter weather, right? And so, you know, pay attention to that. Pay attention to getting sunlight when you can, and intaking enough vitamin D, and, you know, really taking care of yourself if that's something that you battle already. I think that we see a lot of instances of that around the holidays too, you know?
Yeah, I know I can measure my stress by how much water I'm drinking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I drink quite a bit of water throughout the day. And if I'm getting to, you know, 2:00 in the afternoon and I've had, you know, 1 8-ounce bottle of water, I know I'm in big trouble. Trouble's coming, and I need to step back and think about what's going on, because I should have been up at like half a gallon at that time. Right.
So what has got me all like turned around, that's not my normal routine. And, you know, that in and of itself, like the holidays are not our normal routine. And so it's going to throw us off regardless. And I don't know about you, but one of the things, so the holiday I celebrate is Christmas. And there's this, I don't even know if I should call it a trend or it's just super like normal in society now, but it's this countdown mentality to Christmas.
Oh, to everything.
Where we start, sometimes people like post it on social media in like August.
Yeah.
By the way, here's how many paydays are left till Christmas. What?
I like when they start that in January. Only 364 days.
Right. So it's like, you know, there's this immediate sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Not only do we have to get everything right, but we have to get it right by a certain deadline. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like that doesn't feel good inside. My husband bought at 1 year, it broke, and you can tell I'm real upset about that, but he bought this light that shines on the side of the house, and it started at 99 days and it counted down to Christmas. And every time I would come home from work,
I would
unplug see that and I would just immediately tense up like, because I'm looking at it through the lens of, I have 72 days, I have 63 days, I have 54 days to finish the shopping, to finish the wrapping, to plan the meal, to get the house where it needs to be, to make sure everything's perfect. And we still have to, we have kids, it's like, oh, but we're going to do ornament making because I did ornament making with my grandmother and that's important. And we're going to, we have to trim the tree and we have to go see Christmas lights and drink hot cocoa. And like, we have this checklist in our head, particularly as mamas, that we want to like catch all those things. And this constant countdown on the side of my house every day was like eye twitch central.
I think I might have thrown that in the garbage. It would be like, sorry, honey, it's over. It's either me or the light.
Yeah, I think
one of us is going.
Divine intervention there because it broke and I didn't have to break it. So.
There you go.
But yeah, so I do think there's that, generally speaking, that countdown mentality that doesn't help.
Yeah.
But going back to the budget thing, I did want to talk about, there are some things that are associated with holiday joy and fun, and they're very, very seasonally festive that don't cost money.
What's that?
Right? Like driving around and looking at Christmas lights.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, that's fun, put on some Christmas music in the car if Christmas is the holiday you celebrate, and drive around and look at the lights, right? I think that little moments like that, even if it's just you, maybe you're in a situation right now where you're flying this holiday solo, right? Go get some hot cocoa and drive around, right? And there's some neighborhoods where there's even like you can get out and walk, and maybe you'll see somebody walking their dog, and you can have a conversation, right? You can connect with other people. But I think there are some things like that don't have to break the bank,
Yeah. I know another thing that happens with me is as I get more and more stressed, my water intake goes down. So do my days at the gym.
Oh, yeah. You're just not taking care of yourself at all.
What can I eliminate here?
Right.
And most of the year, that's the one thing that I won't eliminate or I don't want to eliminate. But come the holidays, then it's like all bets are off.
Right.
Everything has to go.
Yeah, I think you're touching on something really important when we do so much self-sacrifice for the sake of creating a holiday, right?
Yeah.
And then are we even enjoying it? Because you're not even taking care of yourself in the meantime. So if you're feeling like you're just getting by, you're just pulling off the holiday, and you just want it to be over, right? That's the time to sit down and reevaluate. Like, what am I prioritizing this season that isn't serving me?
Well, I'm thinking about, too, community resources for people that might need a little bit extra support.
Sure.
And I know we have a lot in the area that we're in Florida, but I think those expand to all areas. There are places like who does baskets for Thanksgiving, Salvation Army, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Churches are a great resource for that.
There's usually Catholic Charities has closets or food banks, I should say, as well as local bread banks and that type of thing where you can get some support. And I don't know if, I think probably maybe a number of junior leagues do this. I don't know, but I know here where we are, Junior Leagues does a called Moms. It's Miracle on Main Street. Where they have lots of toys and things, and people can register and go down and shop for free with I'm not sure if they're doing it by points or by families now, but lots of different ways. So there's a lot of help out there, community resources. And I'm going to guess that probably almost everybody has a United Way in their area that you can call their helpline and find out, maybe
what's
talk
going
with
on in
them.
your area. That's a resource.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're feeling that stress, I mean, we're at Meridian, specialized health care and mental health and substance use disorders. So you reach out, if you're in our area, definitely reach out to Meridian. But elsewhere, make sure you reach out for help if you need it.
And there was something while you were talking that really jumped out at me when you mentioned substance use, right? Because when we look at sort of the aesthetic of the holiday, drinking is a part of that sometimes, where we see, the cocktails and the wine and all of that, right? So if you are feeling stress and pressure and not your best self, like avoid some of those negative coping strategies. You know, we want to use positive coping strategies and not rely on substances and not rely on, no matter how like pretty and benign and, holiday-ish it looks. If that's not the place you're in mentally, don't self-medicate that way. You know, make some of those choices that are going to be a little bit better for you.
Yeah.
I think that can be helpful. And I love what you were talking about, the resources, right? We have so many resources that we can take advantage of if part of our holiday stress is coming from finances, which is very, very common, right? So you're not failing or inadequate or alone in that, if that's where you are. But if your stress is coming from being alone, there's so many resources that you can get involved in that you can help other people. So maybe finances aren't your problem, but having people to connect to during the holidays is what's causing you to suffer. Reach out to these resources and see if you can help wrap gifts for kids.
Yeah, definitely. Volunteer.
Bags of food.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to get some engagement and holiday cheer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but I think the big takeaway today is really like to set your realistic expectations. Like, it's one thing to kind of, slip into your holiday PJs and watch all the Hallmark movies and they all have happy endings, right? But like, enjoy that, but know that that doesn't have to be real life.
Yeah,
right?
that's entertainment. That's why they make it that way. And that's why you can just read the titles.
Yes, your holiday does not have to look like anybody else wants it to look or thinks it should look. And whatever you are doing that is healthy and positive is good enough.
Yeah, definitely.
So we hope everybody out there has a wonderful holiday, whatever that means for you, and a really safe and happy new year. And we will see you after that. Thanks for listening to The Brain Factor. Joy and I are so thrilled to be having these needed conversations. We'd love to hear your feedback on this episode, so if you could drop a comment or leave a review with your thoughts or any requests that you may have, it would be appreciated. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Living a healthier and happier life starts with one step, and we're excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time.